Okay, I received a question, an interesting question that I want to go into today. That is about self-sabotaging when it comes to creating your drawings or just going into your creative practice. I think we can apply that to many, many different things. So I'm going to read out the question and then we'll see what comes out. We'll see what I have to say. So the question is, I was wondering if you have any ideas about self-sabotage in regards to doing my drawings. I know how valuable it is for me, but some days I just seem to put all sorts of obstacles in my way, household chores mainly. Then I get to the end of the day and I haven't made time for myself. I have a feeling it's something to do with having to have my homework done before I could go out and play. A rule from my childhood. Any ideas on how to get around this? So first off, what I hear there is making time for yourself. And I can very much relate to that. As a new mom, there's very little time for myself. So of course we have to make the time. And now the question is, how can we prioritize making time for ourselves when there is still chores to do? One way I do it, and I can only share from my own experience because, of course, there are many, many, many answers. And I would love to have an actual discussion about that. So if anybody is watching this, if you have a comment, if you have a way that you make time for your practice, please share. So the way I like to do it is I do one thing that is important that needs to be done, and then I take time for myself. So I don't do 5 things, I do 1. So I make my self-care as much a priority as all the other tasks. So that, and I also kind of do it as like treating myself when I did something. No, I do the dishes, for example, and then I'm like, now I can take a little time for myself. And I mean, my time is like 10 or 15 minutes. Or when the baby is sleeping, then maybe then actually, for example, I take time for myself first before I do something else, because I know that once I start doing the dishes or start cooking or start cleaning the house or start doing all these chores that of course are always there, living in a house, there's always something to do. Once I start doing that, I'm not going to find the time. So I prioritize. And this, of course, is something that is a kind of mental reframing of it, where I make myself more important than the other stuff. And I know that this, can bring up things, can bring up patterns, can bring up things that we learn, things that we heard, things that how we judge ourselves, what we allow ourselves to do. I would, of course, recommend to do some drawings about that, because this is the perfect topic to dive into with Neurographica drawing. With the drawing, we can always ask, what is behind this? What is in this pattern that I need to know? What is the thing that blocks me, the limiting belief, the inner boundary that I set that doesn't allow me to go to the space where I want to go, to make time for my creativity, to do my drawings. Now, very practical. I know that a lot of people do morning routines. For me, mornings are crazy because I have a little baby. I do evening routines. So finding the time of the day that is for you, where most likely you'll have some time. So for example, I do this sometimes really, I have 5 or 10 minutes. But I take those 5 or 10 minutes. This is why I love, for example, tiny drawings, because I can do a drawing in 10 minutes if I really want to. And this is the way for me to just check in with myself. And I love to do that at the end of the day, because then I can also process and throw out, in a way, everything that happened in this day. And I don't have to take it to bed. No, I don't have to take it into my kind of calming down phase, into my nighttime, into my dreams, and into the next day. Basically, I can actually release some of the things. So I use the drawing a lot as release, where it allows me even if I only have 10 minutes, it allows me to amplify those 10 minutes to where they really take me deep as well. This is one of the nice things that I really like about the drawing. Sometimes, when I just sit and meditate, it's going to take me 10 minutes to even like calm my system down enough, especially when I say like, okay, I only have 10 minutes, gotta like sit. The other thing that I really like to do to calm my system down and then do drawing is breathing. That can bring you into a calmer state. It can calm your nervous system. It can self-regulate. So whenever I feel that it's all too much, and I only have these 5 minutes, and I feel stressed about it, or there's all these other things, there's the to-do list in my head, taking a break can be so beneficial, because then these next tasks that you have can look different. Also, drawing about the task can be really, really nice. Why is this so important to me? What is behind it? What if I let it sit until tomorrow? What if the dishes are not done in the evening? So I would ask yourself questions about it. So I hope that this helped. I can, as I said, I can only share from my own experience. I would love to hear everyone's experience. How do you make time for your drawing and your art and your creativity and your self-care and everything that you want in the midst of life, in the midst of all the chores and all the things that we put on ourselves or the world puts on ourselves? So please share, and of course, ask more questions.